Hey guys, how's it going? Joined here with Justin and our special guest that we talked about all week. Hope you guys are hyped. Hope you guys are ready for the holidays, and more importantly, NBA tomorrow. We got a nice 5-game slate. Lots of studs, lots of good games. Let's jump right into it. Here with Justin. How's it going, man?
Pretty good. Glad to have Pete on and ready to crank this one out.
What's up, Pete? How's it going?
Good. Merry Christmas to you boys, and hopefully I'll be doing a lot more of these now that the traveling has kind of come to an end. So excited for this. The pod has been crushing, so hopefully I don't bring it down too much tonight.
No, it's a step up from Brian, who had to ditch us on like the least busy day of the season for a pod. But it's all good. But all right, well, let's jump right into this. And yeah, we'll definitely get more pods with you here soon. First game we got tomorrow, Pelicans at Heat. You got any news for this one, Justin?
Yeah, Alexis Ajinça questionable with the strained left calf, and we got Ish Smith traded to the Sixers on Thursday. So about 4 or 5 fewer minutes in the guard rotation there. Let's toss to you, Pete. We got Anthony Davis, Tyreek Evans, Drew Holiday up top. Which are the guys you like for cash, and who are you looking for at tournaments?
So this is a tough game to figure out in terms of cash. Originally, Bino Udrih was going to be a lock for cash games here, but now that it looks as though Goran Dragic is probable, is that right?
Yeah.
So Dragic being probable eliminates the one, kind of stone cold value. So now in terms of cash, it's a little tricky for me. I want to pick on New Orleans here because they play, at a higher pace. So, someone like Dwayne Wade on a Christmas game, only 6,900. I think he's a pretty nice option on the Heat side. Don't mind Tyreek at all, especially now that he's going to get some more minutes. He's been playing well. And obviously Anthony Davis, if you want to pay up, I think he'll be – I don't know. What do you think his ownership is going to be tomorrow, Jay?
I don't know. It hasn't been as high as we've seen lately, just with the fear of him getting injured and whatnot. And, I'd like to try to avoid the Pelicans on this slate as much as I can, just given the matchup and everything. And I agree. I want to target the Heat a little bit more. I think given the lack of cheap options, I bet Anthony Davis ownership will be relatively low for sure. So a guy I'm looking at really for tournaments who I like a lot on this 5-game slate is Whiteside.
Yeah, Whiteside's been playing a lot more minutes lately. He was in that 24 to 26 range for a while there, but now he's right up at 29, 32, playing in the 30s. So, with him there playing big minutes and, the type of upside he has with those blocks, and no one really, Omar Ashik doesn't particularly scare me. I think Whiteside has been in peak form lately and, is a guy I'm definitely looking at here based on his recent play.
Yeah, I like that call.
You guys think Dang is like a like a punt kind of play on this slate, just going against the Pelicans, kind of a mid-range, cheaper guy at a weak position where we are in huge need of salary relief?
He definitely could be. It's brutal kind of trying to figure out who
It
to take
is.
here. He's 5K. It's not like he's a total punt. I think he's a little bit more of
Yeah.
a punt on FanDuel. But
Right.
on DraftKings, he's much trickier to fit in. But I don't mind him. It's
Yeah.
just tough. This roster construction is really tough without that many clear value guys.
Yeah, you don't mind
Exactly.
him too much because I think Dang's been playing close to 34 minutes lately, so at least you have the minute security there. And hope he does enough in that time to pay off his price, which I think he probably should.
Yeah, I agree. And Bosch is another guy I really like for tournaments. And, he's averaging 4 threes a game this season, and Pelicans absolutely can't defend the three. This is definitely looking over at this is the worst defense on the slate. I guess the Rockets is pretty bad too. But, I think this is kind of a team you want to target, especially for tournaments.
Are we on Drew Holiday still? Coming off the bench, he's been pretty solid in 25 to 27 minutes. He's averaged 30 DK points over last week. Are we still on him in as a mid-range play?
I'm not as much against the Heat. I really like the Heat's defense. They're good across the board in pretty much everything. They play at a slow pace. They don't turn over. They defend the three really well. I think they can kind of slow Drew down to where his price isn't great anymore. And
Right.
but given the slate and given you can't really fit obviously all these guys that we like, so he's definitely an option, but one that I'm not looking at too strongly, just given the defense.
So what was the exact date that Ish Smith got traded?
He was traded. He was traded today on
That's what
Thursday.
I thought. Yeah, I thought he got traded. So we haven't seen a game without him. So maybe his minutes bump up. That's the one thing that I think is interesting about Drew. I know that obviously there's the injury stuff that he's had. Historically, he hasn't really been able to stay healthy. So maybe they're going to keep his minutes in the mid-20s. But given that Ish is gone, I think it could potentially give him some more minutes. I agree with Jay's point though that it's not really a defense you want to target. But he's been great on a per-minute basis, and if he gets a couple more minutes, he could really be a nice play.
Agreed. I'm not sure where those minutes go to. Maybe Tony Douglas sees those 4 to 5, or because I don't think they'll give much more to Eric Gordon or Tyreek. So maybe it's Tony Douglas entering the rotation again.
Yeah, which is awful for us. But yeah, I agree. I mean, if Drew gets an extra 5 minutes, then for sure, he bumps up even with that difficult matchup on this short slate with lack of options.
Yep.
Let's move on to the next game here real quick. I got Bulls at Thunder. You got a total for this one?
Yeah, we got the Thunder come in as 9-point favorites. Thunder implied at 107.3 and Bulls implied at 98.3.
Okay.
And we'll start off with the Bulls, I guess. I'll start. We'll look at this game as a whole. The Bulls, obviously, Joakim Noah out 2 to 4 weeks with a sprained left shoulder. Thunder fully healthy. So starting with the Bulls, we're going to get more Bobby Portis in the front court. Hoiberg didn't say what he was going to do with the rotation. He was undecided still whether he's going to keep starting Mirotic at small forward or move Mirotic back to the front court and start Tony Snell possibly, or get him back in the rotation. What I think will happen probably is, Snell gets maybe 16 minutes, checks Durant a little bit, and then we'll see a really good chunk of Gasol and Taj Gibson in the front court, with some Mirotic and Bobby Portis sprinkled in around the 20 to 24-minute range. So, looking at this team, is this for Chicago, is this more of a Pau Gasol or Jimmy Butler game for you?
For me, I think Pau Gasol is the guy that I'm going to try to get a little more exposure to. I think he could have a really nice game. And I think Taj Gibson, I've been putting him in some lineups as a punt play. Only 4,400 on DraftKings. The minutes, they could be pretty nice here in this spot, especially, if he's on the court a lot when Serge Ibaka is not on the court. That could play really, really well for him. So I like the front court options for Chicago. What do you think, Jay?
Yeah, it's tough because I'm actually looking at Bobby Portis, 1,100 cheaper. But Bobby Portis is the kind of guy where you're scared, cash game wise, especially of kind of his floor there, and especially his minutes. So I like him more than Taj with his kind of upside and factor in the price. But for cash games, yeah, you're right. I'd rather go Taj here at 4,400. It's a great way to save salary for a guy who is expected to see more minutes and has already been starting. I think his floor is a little bit higher than Portis, but we've seen Portis, crazy eyes just ball out in limited minutes. So this is something that I'm attacking that Bobby Portis price really hard in GPPs.
I totally agree. Bobby Portis' usage rate so far this season is 35%, and he's just jacking up shots when he's in there. And he's obviously shooting at a high percentage too. I think his field goal percentage so far is about 48. Not, it's moderate, but high enough to where he can put up some numbers in those limited minutes. Going to I'm off Mirotic, just a really extended cold streak, and we saw Hoiberg try to spark him a little bit last game, get him going, and didn't really help. And so I'm kind of off Mirotic in all formats. Going to OKC, so obviously we start at the top: Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant. Do you have a favorite in cash, Pete, or do you have a favorite in tournaments?
I think I'm going to go Durant if I'm going to go anyone. I don't know. I've been back and forth on this. Durant on DraftKings is not really a price favorite. With the same price as LeBron. I'd probably take LeBron all day over him. I don't know. That's an interesting debate. I like Westbrook a lot as well, but if I'm going to pay up for point guard, I tend to be putting in Steph Curry for just 300 more on DraftKings. So they're both intriguing. If I do play them in tournaments, I kind of want to stack the game and hope for a really close game, potentially overtime. But I'm kind of struggling with Westbrook and Durant because I'm comparing them versus Steph Curry and LeBron, and I'm leaning that way right now. What are your guys' thoughts?
Right, and you look at individual matchups here, and it's tough. The Bulls, they're with the Heat. You know, they have a really great all-around defense. They're really good in transition game. They don't give up threes. I mean, they play really well defense. I know that this is a high total and the Thunder are big favorites, but it's tough on this slate. I mean, I don't think you can go Westbrook and Durant. I don't even think that's possible, really, unless you're just kind of tanking the bottom end of your team. So picking one of those guys, I agree. I think I'd rather, you know, consider LeBron or Curry, especially at those similar prices there. But tournament-wise, you know, I love Westbrook and Durant, obviously, for sure. Steven Adams in play at his cheap price, probably playing a decent amount of minutes going against Powell.
He probably is. I mean,
yeah, go ahead, Pete.
I was just going to say, I mean, at this point, with the way it's looking tomorrow, you have to consider anyone who's going to see 20-plus minutes that's under 5K. You know, like
right.
it's so bad. Value is so bad tomorrow that you have to consider all these guys. And Adams at only 4,000. I mean, it wouldn't shock me if he got 25 fantasy points. He's penciled in probably for, you know, 18 to 20, maybe, you know, 15 to 20 in that range is what you'd expect. So he's definitely viable on a slate where there's just so little value.
And you can look at Cantor and GPPs too. I like him just in game scripts where it could be a potential blowout and he'll see extended minutes off the bench. We saw his potential against the Lakers the other night. And with this spread being 9, already the second highest of this slate behind that Spurs line, he could be worth a look at 4,200 on DK as well.
Right, and attacking the Bulls in the front court is probably the best route to go. Obviously, you know, Adams doesn't really have that high of a ceiling or anything, but Cantor for sure does. So I like that play a lot, getting a piece of the weaker Bulls front court compared to kind of their wing defenders there.
Plus, I don't mind Ibaka either as a GPP because I think his ownership will not be very high, and this Bulls front court gives up a lot of rebounds to opposing bigs. So. And they'll need him to kind of play big against Powell in this front court. So I don't mind some Ibaka exposure either.
Right. All right.
Well, before we move to the last game, and this is just one last comment I want to move to, or not the last game, but the next game.
Yeah.
Derrick Rose, 43 fantasy points,
Yeah.
DraftKings points versus them last time they played.
Yeah.
Just something to keep in mind.
I'm off that. I'm not going back to that well for sure.
Jay gives that the big Nawe, right? Nawe is right there.
Yeah, I'm not going Rose.
Okay. All right.
Real quick, before we move on, is Powell like a strong cash game play to you guys with Noah out?
I like him quite a bit.
I do like him quite a bit too. I mean, he's been so solid, and I think in this matchup, I haven't penciled in projected for 32.8 minutes right now for Friday.
Could be higher.
Yeah, it could be higher, but for him, 32.8 is plenty, and he's crushed at way less in the high 20s. So giving him 32.8 in this matchup, I like him quite a bit for sure. I think he's up there. Just the higher end cash game plays of the slate. Definitely.
Right. Yeah, he's one of my favorite plays. The only problem is center has those kind of value guys that I should take a strong look at when building my cash lineups. Just with sheer minutes that some, even Bogut, I kind of like at that price. It kind of affords you some of these other guys. But Powell's definitely a strong option if you could fit him.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to the juiciest game of the slate. Rematch Cavs at Warriors. Justin, you going to watch this one?
Yeah, I might flip through, watch a couple minutes here and there. There's not much going on in this game. Pretty boring. They don't have history at all, and no bad blood or no ill will.
Right. I'll probably switch between this and Jingle All the Way. I really like that movie.
I gotta love Arnold. So we got the Warriors 7-point favorites in this one. Warriors implied at 108. Cavs implied at 101. So like Jay said, really juicy matchup. The only real injury news in this game is Harrison Barnes upgraded to doubtful from out. He did 3-on-3 work on Thursday and reportedly looked really good. So I'd say maybe a 10 to 20% chance that he plays tomorrow. Maybe makes a surprise appearance in this matchup and sees a few minutes. But for now, I guess we'll assume that Barnes is out when going through this matchup. So the Cavs, some news there. Kyrie Irving still on a minutes limit. David Blatt said he wants to keep him around 20 minutes for the foreseeable future. I think it's a possibility that Kyrie maybe sees upwards of 24 in this one if things get really close and Blatt wants to push the envelope, but we should expect limited Kyrie, moving him off cash and tournament radars. Still LeBron and Love at the top. Pete likes LeBron. Is he one of your top cash game plays of the slate, Pete?
See, I want him to be, but I've been building rosters, and it's tough. Like, fitting in one of these guys, trying to fit in two is really challenging. I'm going to have a ton of him in tournaments. I might have him in cash games. I think I'd rather play Curry than LeBron, though, overall. What do you guys think there?
I agree. I think I'm leaning that side. I'd rather play Curry here in this game. You think there's any value, tournament-wise, of course, with this Cleveland backcourt kind of?
Yeah, I'm with Dellavedova.
That's what I'm saying, because Shumpert's going to play a little bit more for his defense, I'd imagine, overall.
Yeah, but the way I have it projected right now, I have Dellavedova at like 27 minutes, which is a lot, which is plenty enough for his salary and in tournament to pay off. And, he can get hot and hit a couple shots with sagging in on LeBron and Love, and, he'll get some looks. So, given the expected split between Delly and Irving, I think realistically you can project Irving for about 21 minutes, and Dellavedova takes the other 27 at point. So I think that's enough for him to be a good bargain GPP play for sure.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm pretty high on him for tournaments. It's a nice way to get exposure to this game, and he's had good games lately even too. So it's someone I think a lot of people will overlook with this backcourt in this matchup that, can gain you a unique tournament lineup.
I might play some Shumpert tomorrow too in tournaments. I know that he's obviously not the best fantasy player, but 3,600. Right. You literally just have to just hope on some of these guys. It's so gross.
It is.
Just look through getting 20, 25 points from some of these guys is going to be massive tomorrow, I have a feeling. So he's definitely in at least consideration for me. And Jay already mentioned Bogut. That's another guy that I definitely like a lot. Who knows how much he plays if they go small. Both teams go small. But, again, 4,000 definitely has 25, 30-point upside. And you can reasonably expect at least 20. So, guys, I'd love to play Iguodala, but 5,200, it's like, come on.
Yeah, it's tough. Any Tristan Thompson, what's the best case scenario for him in this game? Just game pace, flow-wise.
Yeah, you hope he plays 30, 35 minutes. I think he's fine. He had that 35-minute 37-point game versus Oklahoma City, and they might just prefer to play him quite a bit in this matchup. That's how you punish Golden State if they go small, is put Tristan out there and hope he gets a bunch of offensive rebounds.
Yeah, preliminarily I have him for 29 to 31 minutes, somewhere in that range, because I don't think Varejao will play at all. So I think Tristan's fine, attacking, getting some exposure to this game that way and not having to pay up for LeBron and Love. I like that.
You can also pay up to be contrarian here with Draymond Green. I have no idea why he's 9,200 on DraftKings, but that's a pay up to be contrarian tournament play. But they just, with that price, took him out of cash games, unfortunately.
Yeah, we'll get into the Warriors right now. I think there's definitely – these are kind of where some of these good plays are. And tournament-wise, I think we'll see a little bit more chalk on the Warriors side, knowing that this is a huge game finally, a somewhat close spread for the Warriors here. You guys on – is Kyrie or Curry and Dre? Draymond's price, are they cash game options? I think Curry's makes for the strongest kind of in my opinion, out of those top price guys.
Agreed. I'm with you there. Draymond, triple-double potential, obviously, but borderline cash. I probably won't pay up for him. I would for Curry, though, definitely.
I'm in on Curry. Steph is the most fun player to watch. It's going to be great to watch on Christmas tomorrow. I think Curry and LeBron both show out in this game, and especially on DraftKings where the scoring is just so favorable to someone like Steph. I think he's an elite play in any format.
The thing is, I'm worried about Klay Thompson with Shumpert on him. Shumpert just devastated Aaron Aflalo the other game. I know obviously Klay's a lot better than Aflalo, but Shumpert just put the clamps on him, and I worry a lot more about Klay getting shut down, then Curry is going to have to be the one that steps up and exploits still gimpy Kyrie and then Dellavedova as well. I like that. I like this spot for for Steph a lot. And I think, theoretically, Iguodala should be an option because I think he'll see a lot of minutes in this one, having to guard LeBron on the wing. I don't think we'll see a lot of Brandon Rush, even if he starts. Iguodala might play upwards of 30 minutes in this one. They might go death lineup a little earlier and a little more often in this one. But he might be so preoccupied playing defense that I worry that he'll be able to do much of anything else. So I don't know.
Right.
He's kind of a guy you hope. I don't know. A lesser version of Luol Deng, where you can pencil him in for about 30 minutes and then hope that he does enough while he's on the court to pay off his price.
Right, and I think that's a strong possibility. Let's talk, we've all tried to build lineups here. So let's break down Bogut real quick. He's an affordable option, right, on both sides. So, you're going to have to save money. Like, it's just a fact. We're talking about all these guys. Obviously, we like all these top price guys, but you're going to have to play two of these guys that we don't like that much. Is Bogut one of those guys that you put at the top of kind of your cheap plays here?
I like him quite a bit for 4,000 on DraftKings. I mean,
he produces in limited minutes enough to where I think on this slate, if he affords you Curry or some of these other guys where you're not – really at any other position, you got to look at your punt plays. And I think like Portis is 3,300 I like, but I'd probably rather go who would you rather go price-wise?
It's like you look down this list of like bargains, and Bogan's the only one that has like a floor and a track record,
Exactly.
right? And the guy like you feel comfortable with minutes. And you look up and down this list: Shumpert, Bobby Portis, Manu is a little iffy but passable. Not Steven Adams. I think he's definitely more iffy than Bogut. I would trust Bogut 10 times out of 10. And then like Terrence Jones, Taj Gibson, Gerald Green, I think Bogut is the value play here, really.
Yeah, I agree.
They're all trash. They're all trash.
Right. It's like
I take Bogut though.
I don't want to play Taj, but he gets a really hard look at that price, and just knowing his floor is a little bit higher than some of these other guys. And same thing with Bogut. These are two guys. You're going to miss out on Powell if you go him on FanDuel or whatnot, or if you wanted to go two centers, but it's kind of something you really have to take into strong consideration here, that no matter what, you're pretty much going to have to play someone who's not in a good spot, really, or doesn't have.
Yeah, and Powell's not money enough to forgo the safety of Bogut's floor. I think you go Bogut and then look for other comparable, top options, which you can find, obviously.
Agree.
Right.
All right, let's keep it moving. So next game we got is Spurs at Rockets. You got a total for this one?
Yeah, Spurs are favored by 6.5, and Spurs implied at 103.5. Rockets implied at 97. The Rockets at 97, I believe, is the lowest total of this slate. Pelicans being second at 97.3. So it makes sense. Obviously, going against the Spurs defense, solid at every position. I want to start off, no injuries here for either side. Both of them are healthy. I want to start off here with looking at James Harden and the concern level we have with him drawing Kawhi Leonard possibly. I know he'll see a lot of Danny Green too, but Harden I think is a pretty obviously an easy fade in cash. How much exposure, if any, do you want of him in tournaments, Pete?
I'm going to keep this analysis very simple. I don't play players against the Spurs. I'm not going to change tomorrow. I'm playing Kawhi, and I might play some cheap guys for the Spurs, but that's it. And I think it's pretty straightforward. In tournaments, I don't hate it, but James Harden versus like Westbrook, James Harden 300 less than Curry, more expensive than LeBron and Durant. I'll take a stance and fade Houston tomorrow against the Spurs like I have all year.
So I agree with that completely. We're looking at a historically good defense here, one of the best we've seen, at least in my lifetime. First of all, they're projected to score 97 points. That alone seems high. I know Houston has a good offense lately, but you look at Harden specifically, and this is a game where you could make 4 shots or something. So I agree. Yeah, I'm always on team fade against the Spurs. With 5 games, what do you think Harden's percentage owned is? I think it's a plus EV move to have higher ownership than the field, just given his ownership will be so low and this is such a small slate.
Nah, Wave. I'm off it.
Okay. Just no scenario.
Just no scenario.
Right.
I see it. I understand it.
Right.
But think about the matchup. It's Green,
matchup wise, I'm only thinking about the ownership levels here and contrarian and
you have to think, how often does Harden win in this spot? And I don't think it's very often. I can't see a big line out of him. I think maybe there's a chance he scores, I don't know, like high 20s, but the supporting stats will be very lacking against his team. Like, what's his assist total going to be? What's his steals total going to be?
I would take Kawhi versus him straight up in terms of fantasy points and feel pretty confident in it. And Grant, totally different positions, but Kawhi's 2,000 less. And like, if you compare, I mean, he's more expensive than Anthony Davis. He's 300 cheaper than Steph Curry. He's more expensive than LeBron. He's more expensive than Durant. Blake Griffin, I could see having a bigger game. I mean, all these guys, I think, are better spots.
Yeah. So, I mean, rounding out this Rockets team, I'm off Dwight. Seeing Duncan, and then a little bit too much volatility there for me with the other spots, and Capella, Terrence Jones, Beverly doesn't do enough. We sweat Beverly together. Pete.
Oh, that was bad.
Ooh, I heard rumors of that.
Yeah, 5 minutes on the court. Need literally 0.3 points from Beverly. Misses 3 free throws in a row. Just a frustrating beat, but it's all right. It's all right. That Bugsy, but that guy's been back many a time, so it's fine.
Calling his name, yeah, he'll be back for sure.
I shouldn't have said anything, but that's fine.
No, it's fine.
It's a good matchup. Guy's a good, worthy opponent. He deserved to win that one.
Right, Beverly got you. So yeah, who are you looking at in this game that you like cash wise? Really, Kawhi. Yeah, just Kawhi.
Yeah, and I think
I agree.
I think Duncan is in a really good spot to be a tournament play. I think this 6.5 point spread gives me enough. Gives him enough minutes to be in that consideration. I think always the concern with Duncan is going to see 22 minutes and not be able to do enough. I think he has at least a chance to see like 26 to 28 in this one, given his permanent productivity. He's always in contention for like a 12-10 and 2 block line, something that'll pay off, and he'll obviously be under-owned as usual.
I don't mind Danny Green as a total punt either. 3,800 at shooting guard. I don't hate it. I mean, he could see 26, 27 minutes. Just hope he gets hot from 3. Just hope he's just absolutely familiar.
I hope
4 or 5 threes.
I've hoped for that a few times, specifically against Washington. But yeah, he's just not looked good all season. But
I agree.
Slate, and you're going to have to look at these value plays that for tournaments. You could talk me into a lot of guys who I would definitely never consider on fuller slates. So. Yeah, I agree. I mean, Houston's not great at defense, specifically defending the 3, so it's certainly possible. Let's keep it moving. Let's go to the last game here. We got, which is definitely the worst game on the slate. You guys agree with that? Just watching wise, I don't even care for this game.
I'm devastated we won't see Austin Rivers.
Yeah, when he got ruled out, I was like, there goes Christmas is ruined, basically. Like, so much for miracles.
Yeah, so this is the biggest spread of the slate. Clippers favored by 11.5. Clippers implied at 109.3. Lakers at 97.8. The only news we have: Austin Rivers ruled out, and on the Lakers side, Julius Randle and Nick Young are both probable. And yeah, the Lakers' defense this year has been historically bad. They've allowed 7.2 points per 100 possessions, more than league average, which is the biggest differential of the last 10 seasons. And the worst rebounding team in the league. So, I think DeAndre, I'm definitely looking at him, especially in tournaments here, can feast on this Lakers center spot. And yeah, and Lakers opponents, average a league high 16.2 second chance points per game. So I think that's right up DeAndre's alley. I'm looking at him, obviously point guard Chris Paul. I'll toss it to you, Pete. What are your thoughts on the Clippers here?
Yeah, I mean, I think you want to play two centers a decent amount of the time tomorrow in cash, and DeAndre Jordan's another reason why. I mean, we talked about Pau Gasol, we talked about DeAndre, reasonable value on a points per dollar basis. Then you have the punts like Bogut, like Adams, and even Hibbert, I guess, who I probably wouldn't have exposure to, but I wouldn't hate that play. So I think that Jordan's a definite option and someone you should be considering. The game stays close, especially you can always get the hack of Jordan, which is great when you own him, awful when you own other Clippers, not named DeAndre. And then Chris Paul is the other guy that I really like in this game. I want to get some exposure to him if I can. Only 8,600. I think he's a really nice play. And if the game stays remotely close, he should just go off against this terrible, defensive backcourt that the Lakers have.
Yeah, I agree. I'm expecting DeAndre to get a lot of rebounds in this game, especially playing the Lakers, missing a lot of shots here. So, yeah, he's one of my favorite plays at that price, too, in general. And then, yeah, definitely Chris Paul here. Blake. I mean, these guys are great tournament plays. Cash-wise, it's just kind of hard to fit them in with an 11-point spread, especially on top. So, it's pretty tough. The Clips have lost. Well, they lost the Spurs, Rockets, and Thunder. So, this is as good as it gets for their perspective to just put a beat down finally on a team and, not have to worry about too much. So is there any value in the Lakers here as 11-point underdogs?
No, I hate the Lakers. Justin, do you have anyone?
No, I think if you want to get cute, you can look at D'Angelo Russell coming off the bench in a likely blowout. I think he offers some value there as a kind of a cheaper option.
It's a great tournament play.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously I'm not really feeling any of the starters here, even though Kobe's been playing a lot better as of late, averaging 24 points on 46% shooting in his last 5, which is better. But, I'm not on any Lakers outside a little Russell. And I don't know, maybe Randall if you feel good about his ankle, but I don't know. That's iffy.
All right. I got 2 more plays for you guys, and you guys will both laugh me off the set. It'll be the perfect way to end the pod. 2 crazy plays. But if you want some tournament wildness, and
Let's get weird. Let's get weird, Pete.
Yeah, I'm pretty scared.
I'm getting really weird here. But they're both dirt cheap, and it wouldn't shock me to see one of these guys get 25 or 30 fantasy points.
Ooh,
25 ceiling. 25 ceiling.
Byron Scott, player coach. What's going on?
Nope, not Byron. It's on the
Anthony
Clippers
Brown?
side.
Oh, the Clippers side.
Clippers side.
Lance Stevenson.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm on Team Lance for sure. Yeah,
Lance Stevenson is a very sneaky play. This could play perfectly for him if the Clippers get up like 25
right.
going into the second quarter, something crazy. And if you want to go crazy too, this one's even more off the reservation. But you're going to get him.
Oh God, is it Josh Smith?
Oh yeah.
No,
come on.
No. We were having such a good podcast, such a good time. I was on board the Lance train.
Josh Smith is more of a joke. Lance Stevenson, I'm serious about.
Josh Smith lost time to Cole Aldrich last game. Granted, it was against OKC, but he like DNP to Cole Aldrich.
Aldrich, he belongs on the Hornets front court.
Yeah, right.
Piling him on there.
If you roster Josh Smith, you'll have him at 0.1%. That's all I'm saying.
You're going to be the only one.
And he's going to get you 5 fantasy points.
Yeah.
That's the reality.
Maybe the uniqueness of your lineup, though, will make up for that.
No, we've seen some weird Josh Smith moments, like that entire series last year against Dallas.
Yeah. And he went off for Houston.
What, he was knocking down threes like he was
raining.
Yeah.
I do think Lance is a reasonable option. It wouldn't shock me if he got like 25, 30 fantasy points. Wouldn't shock me.
Right. And yeah, I want to touch up on D'Angelo Russell. I'm pretty big on him in tournaments as well. We've seen this Clippers bench. It's really bad. They're not a great defensive team. It's this line just is more of just how bad the Lakers are. So, I'm probably expecting a blowout, but I think there's still going to be a lot of points, and I think there's going to be value to be had, especially in GPP. So some of these guys come off the bench. If Randall is looking good going into this one, then, I think you can fire him and Russell up for sure. And did you say Randall was probable or questionable?
Yeah, he's probable. Yeah.
Okay. So, I would like, obviously Russell more if Randall were out on that second unit.
All right. I think that about does it.
Yeah. Anything else you guys want to add? I mean, enjoy the holidays, watch a lot of basketball, watch a lot of cool Christmas movies and whatnot, and enjoy the day, enjoy the slate.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you boys. You guys have been crushing the pod. Very thankful for both of you guys, and thankful for all the Fantasy Labs subscribers. And hopefully we see some Fantasy Labs people take down all these tournaments tomorrow. Sweet day of NBA GPPs.
Take him down with Lance Stevenson. Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry Christmas. Good luck, guys.